year is 2021, and Libsyn launches the latest podcast on the Borgcast Galactica feed. In a freak mishap, Borgcast Galactica and its hosts, Peter and Anne-Marie, are blown out of their trajectory to re-emerge as Borg Rogers in the 25th century.
Hello friend, and welcome to Borg Rogers 1.19 with Peter and Anne-Marie.
Hello!
And tonight's episode is Buck's Duel to the Death. Yeah. Right. Not at all running out of ideas at this point, are they?
Because he's never had a duel to the death before, has he?
Not once.
No.
But about 3 times. Written by Rob Gilmer, who will write the next episode as well. He also wrote an episode of Galactica 1980.
Oh.
Super Scouts Part 1.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Went on to be a producer of such shows as Knight Rider and Relic Hunter, a.k.a. it's not Tomb Raider the series, honest. This is directed by Bob Bender, the only Bucky Sodi helmed, but was the first assistant director on 11 episodes, and another new director called upon at the last minute thanks to behind-the-scenes shenanigans.
Oh.
Although he was also second unit director on The Towering Inferno and many other TV shows. He'll go on to direct 4 episodes of Quincy and an episode of The Greatest American Hero, whatever the heck that is. Oh. It lasted 44 episodes and is described as a teacher is asked to be a superhero using a special alien suit with powers he can barely understand or control. So we'll be covering that next.
No.
I am not your Roshan, or whatever it is you call it. I'm just me, Buck Rogers.
Captain Rogers, all we're asking is that you appear to be the Roshan.
Long enough for the people to find the courage to stand up to the Borg.
I can't give your people courage or direction. They're gonna have to find that for themselves. Can't you see that?
The captain's right, Darius. But the people can't do it. Not alone. They need help.
Why? This is their planet. I don't understand.
So you open with 2 women who can't act, utterly failing the Bechdel test.
Yes, utterly. We get a basic mat. That it's like they haven't got time to do mats at this point, unfortunately. And apparently, IMDb reckons this is a reuse of a Japanese design from a 1970s expo.
Is this the one that looks like Count Dracula, or does that come later?
No. This is the futuristic city one. Count Dracula's castle
later.
comes later. That's Minty's place.
Oh, yes.
We've got Mayor, who's combing her hair. She's not the greatest actor ever. And Vion. Oh, who's going to fall for Buck later on because everybody does.
Don't, yeah. She's got her hair crimped.
Yeah.
It doesn't suit her. Crimped can suit some people, not her. Yeah, so they're just being annoying and you want to slap them. And then there's a bald man who wants to do something about the tree ball means are a mint a bit stronger. Stick him up the bum and they last a bit longer.
Oh, lovely. This is Darius, who's played by Keith Andes.
Now, I recognised his voice.
Well, I don't know how well you remember this episode, but he is in one of the season 2 episodes of the original series.
Is he?
The Apple, in orange skin and a bright white wig. Yeah.
It might be why I recognise his voice and not his face.
Possibly. I can't wait for that one. It was him and one of the guys from Starsky and Hutch. Yeah, I think.
I'm not going to say too much, but I think I know which one the Apple is.
Yes. It's not a good one.
No. Anyway, so in order to defeat the tree ball, they've got to have I can't remember what they call it now, thing. And it's going to be Buck Rogers because he's 500 years old and that can be verified.
The Roshan, I believe?
That's it, Roshan.
Yes, Roshan, Boshan, yeah.
And so they want Buck Rogers to be effectively their champion. So you have Buck and Wilma.
Hang on, you got Kellen, who's the dude in black.
Oh, the traitor.
Yeah, because he's wearing black. Played by Fred Sadoff, who was in Magnum Pie, Manimal, Super Train, the Quastar Tapes. Heard of the Quastar Tapes? It's a TV movie by some obscure person called Gene Roddenberry about a dude who creates a sophisticated android who then goes missing. Recycling ideas much there, Gene? Also appeared in The Flying Nun.
What?
Yes, which ran for 82 episodes.
Bloody hell.
The misadventures of a nun who can fly and her convent and neighbours, it's described as.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to see this now.
The theme tune is just literally somebody scraping the bottom of a barrel, I expect. But anyway. And then you've got the very sci-fi sounding Neil.
Oh, Neil, yeah.
They're trying really hard with all their Kellan Darius. Neil! And he's wearing a big white collar thing and looks very sci-fi, bless him.
Yeah. So, yes, Buck and Wilma see a ship being pursued.
It's Neil!
And it's Neil. And clearly those pursuing it can't shoot straight like stormtroopers. And that made me... Remember I thought like stormtroopers, it then reminded me that thing whose name I've forgotten, who's Boo's other half.
Kudos.
Yes.
Stephen.
Right, his argument is that stormtroopers can shoot straight all the time. You see them not shooting straight, they're supposed to be allowed to escape for some reason.
Sometimes that works. I'm not sure it always works, but it certainly works in the original Star Wars, doesn't it? Because they want to trace the location of the Rebel base, so that's fair enough. But yeah.
So,
but I'm kind of feeling that they did want to win the Battle of Endor, for instance, and all those times they managed to miss Ewoks. I mean, come on.
Okay. Anyway, they're missing for a reason. They're being rubbish for a reason because it's all a ruse.
Yeah.
But anyway, they save Neil. Neil is very grateful.
So the baddies are flying Scorpion fighters, which we've seen many times. Although it has been it feels like a long while since we've had a proper space battle. So this is nice to see.
Well, but this is an effectual one. But yeah,
it's all right. And Neil's flying a new ship, the Ranger 3. It was a design built on spec before the series started, which it's not a bad design, and it's a shame they didn't make more use of it, really. But it's like they got this to this point in the series. It's like, well, can we use what we already got built? Oh, this will be handy. Yep.
Then Neil goes to meet Dr. Hewer and Tweaky and Wilma. And he's like, oh, you must come back with me. And Wilma's like, oh, I can't possibly get time off. And I'm like, oh, fuck you, writers.
Yep.
She should be going as well and kicking ass and taking names. And yet again, you've fucking written her out.
Yep. I'd say it's annoying.
Yeah, writer is a cunt. But no, Bucky's going to go and stay with Neil, and so's Tweaky. Oh, joys. So then they present Buck to the Prime Minister, and oh, look, it was all a ruse, like we hadn't fucking guessed. And at this point, my notes then point out that, that's a painting, and that's when you get...
Treeball's Castle, yes.
Yes.
In the heart of Transylvania, in the Vampire Hall of Fame, yeah, there's not a vampire as any other. He won't bite, feast the man, cause he's a vegetarian, and things never run to plan.
Yeah, so if you don't know what that's a reference to, do Google Count Docula and you'll see a castle very similar to this. Very weird. And we get to meet the Trebor Mint.
Oh, no, that's not what I thought. You keep calling him Minty in the Trebor Mint. My brain went to Mirror Universe Ernie Wise.
He does look a little bit like Ernie Wise, yeah, muscly Ernie Wise. Ernie Wise who's been working out.
Yeah, with a terrible drawn-on scar.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as far as I'm concerned, this is Mirror Universe Ernie Wise.
Okay. And he's actually William Smith, who has got a very long CV. He played Arnie's dad in Conan the Barbarian. He was in Airwolf, The A-Team, Murder, She Wrote, and...
Hey there, where you going? Not exactly knowing. Who says you have to call just one place? Oh, he's going everywhere. DJ McKay and his best friend there.
Yeah, BJ Count 1.
Mm-hmm.
He's also been in some very dodgy sounding fare.
Yeah.
He was Dracula in 2001's The Erotic Rites of Countess Dracula.
Wow.
Yes. And he was also the star of 1973's Invasion of the Bee-Girls.
Wow.
Yes. The tagline for which was, they'll love the very life out of your body.
God.
A powerful cosmic force is turning Earth women into queen bees who kill men by wearing them out sexually.
What?
Yes. And it's written, get this, by Nicholas Meyer.
What?
Yes, director of Star Trek
What the
2
fuck?
and 6.
No! No!
I'd say check out the trailer, but it comes with a trigger warning for a rape scene, so it's that level of yucky schlock.
Oh.
Man, the rabbit holes I fall down doing this podcast, I tell you.
Oh.
Is that Nicholas Meyer? What? No, surely not. Yes, that Nicholas Meyer.
Oh my God.
Man.
Wow.
He's wearing Buck's Plot to Kill a City hand-me-downs, the leather gear, to begin with. And he's got a terrible wig. It's absolutely
it's
appalling.
Shonky, properly shonky. But the wig is not as bad as what Greta is wearing. She's wearing a fucking toilet seat.
So she's played by Stephanie Blackmore.
He just keeps on moving, ladies keep improving. Every day is better than the last.
New dreams and better scenes. And best of all, I don't pay property tax.
BJ Count 2. Hey! I think it's a straight out of Flash Gordon costume, that, isn't it?
It's a toilet seat.
It's another cast of thousands in this one, most of whom do nothing, by the way.
Yeah. So, yeah. Mirror Ernie Wise has been taking the cream of the officer corps, because he has this thing with a mandatory fight to the death, which they show Buck on a TV screen, and he can shoot lightning is the wrong word, but it's
he's got electricity coming from his
type thing.
I mean, surely zapping your opponent with force lightning is cheating. I can't help feeling, but there you go. Apparently, everybody's like in awe of him.
And you have to. It's mandatory. You get executed or you fight him. Either way, you die. And he also takes all of the women to be in his harem.
Yeah, this feels very Flash Gordon, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, very Ming, surrounded by his harem.
Yeah. And then you have a fight where some people are supposedly ambushing Buck in a corridor, but
and
they just
shooting
do it badly.
so badly. One of them literally fires right over Buck's head, and he's like 2 feet away from him.
Yeah.
It's like you could see the effects guys go, so where do we put the beam on now? I don't know. It's just going to have to shoot over his head, isn't it? Otherwise he's actually going to get shot.
Yeah. And then Buck is in his quarters and he hears crying, and it's terrible fake crying from whichever one it is of the two.
Oh, can I be bothered to look? I suppose I ought
And they
to.
was, what was it? Vion.
Vion. That sounds like some sort of unguent or cream, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I'm using Vion for me rash.
Yeah.
Hello, Viz.
And it's just terrible fake crying because her sister's been taken.
That's a cable for the microphone, you nut.
Oh, dear.
Nearly killed the podcast. Buck Rogers failed to kill it, but the dog nearly managed it.
And then Buck contacts Wilma and Dr. Hewer, and he needs info.
Yeah, he's getting into space Google again, because apparently that's all they're good for.
And it's like somehow he's using electricity, and they're like, we don't use that anymore. It's like, what the fuck? Yes, you bloody do. What you on?
No, it's magic beans or something. I don't know what
for
they're using.
Fuck's sake. And then Wilma's like, I'm going to go and check the archives. What the fuck is Theo for then? He's supposed to be like this computer that links to the computer
Oh, well,
archive.
I think they've given up on Theo at this point because his batteries kept running out. So.
And then Mirror Ernie asks if Maya likes her new home, and she says it's a prison, and more terrible acting. And then you have a so-called suicide mission, as Traitor Man calls it, as they're going to storm the palace using the secret conduits. Well, they're not very secret if everybody knows about them, are they?
They're great
really?
big holes in the walls.
They're fuck off massive.
I mean, there's no secret about them. They're so blatant. I mean, yeah, and they're just reusing the sets from the last story as well, which were those were the ducts that were supposedly too small.
They're not conduits. I don't know what they are.
They're
but
just big holes in the wall.
Yes. Yes. It's just rubbishy.
Cheap.
And then Wilma goes down to the archives.
Yes, which are clearly just Hewer's office redressed with a load of tut.
Yeah, it's like you expect to see really shit taxidermy in there, don't you?
And I thought we were going to finally see the oft-mentioned Dr. Junius, but for some reason, no, they continue to tease us. And instead we get Dr. Albert. Because this story needed more characters, apparently.
Oh, and he sort of lets himself out of what looks like some kind of cardboard steam train mock-up.
No, that's a stagecoach.
Is it?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell. And there's just all sorts of crap around. And you think back to the pilot where they said all this stuff, all sorts of things were destroyed, and that's why their archives are bad. But somehow they saved this. They saved that mock-up.
I did like the moment when he handed over the hairdryer and said, we can't get this blaster to work, which that was kind of cool. But this is Robert Lucia, who was in Dukes of Hazzard, Mrs. Columbo, and...
Rolling down to Dallas, my wheels provide my palace. Off to New Orleans or who knows where. Places new and ladies too. I'm BJ McKay and this is my best friend. Yeah.
BJ count 3 or 4, possibly.
Why? How can it be 4 if it's the same fucking
Because
person?
he's 2 different characters in
No,
2
he's one-
different episodes.
No, he's one person.
That's only a count of 3, is it?
Yes. Oh, A is one person. Definitely only one person because he's not 2 people. And B, why are you doing this BJ count thing? We never got it over here. We never saw it.
But it's so cool.
No.
It is.
No.
Honest.
No.
So I don't get to count him twice, even though he was 2 different characters.
No, because he's only one person.
Yeah, but he was 2
No, he is one person.
So this is our I think, drawing highest one, unfortunately.
Yeah,
it's
'cause
3.
everybody really cares about that, don't
Yeah, that's
they?
what they listen to this podcast for, I tell you.
Can you open my beer? There isn't a spoon in here.
Hang on. I've got to update my table.
Because you tried to cheat.
Oh, and he was in a 2-parter as well. Does that mean I get...
No, he's still him, isn't he? Fuck's sake.
Okay, so this draws with Planet the Amazon Women and Space Rockers then, if it's 3.
Right.
That's a shame. I thought we were going to get an overall winner then. Oh, and Plot to Kill a City as well. But anyway, I can't break the barrier of 3. It's a shame.
No. Sorry about him. I definitely need more of this. Now.
Oh, and he's got one of those things you used to get in doctor's surgeries and executives' offices with the balls of strings. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fun, but it's like, why bother with that character? She could have just gone in and found some stuff. I mean...
And he holds up this bit of perspex with a little bit of engraving on. And then, like, she can't read it for some reason, and he can. But there's no explanation as to why.
Yeah, it's just padding, isn't it? Unfortunately, this episode does have a lot of it.
And so you find out that Mirror Ernie Wise spent time on Voltron and had electronic circuitry implanted under his skin. Meanwhile, they're about to go off on their using the secret conduits to, go and rescue the women and attack Mirror Ernie Wise. And Traitor Man wants to make his phone call and can't because of sunspot activity.
Well, that's a thing, at least.
Yeah? Yeah. Then I think you take over.
Yes.
And I started eating crisps and paying less attention to this bollocks.
Buck and the goodies split up and take different ventilation shafts.
They're not ventilation. I don't know what they are, but they're not ventilation shafts. They're too big for that.
There's a nice moment where Buck gets a guard to leave his game of dice and go around a corner by throwing a coin, then waves at him before taking him out. So I quite like that. Darius pulls off the same stunt with another guard. Then they shoot the remaining 2 with Buck proclaiming, "You guys just threw snake eyes!" Wow. Gerard seems to be having more fun in this one, it has to be said. There's a long padded scene where the women all emerge down a ladder. It just was never ending. It was like, really? Do we need to see them all climb down a ladder? Cast of dozens, though. Having been prevented from raising the alarm by sunspots, Keelan finally gets through to bearded dude Karam to warn Trebor of the attack. Neil goes for Trebor's quarters, and one of his men uses what is clearly a plasticine to blow open the door.
It is, isn't it?
Kiddie's bright red plasticine.
Bright red plasticine, yeah.
Anyway, he insists on trying to take Trebor in for trial, which results in his guards getting
It's just like, for fuck's sake, just fucking kill him. Somebody actually says kill him, and he goes, no. It's just like, for fuck's sake.
He's got to stand trial. At least we've got to wait long enough for his guys to turn up and zap us. Buck goes to help Neil, not realising how badly things have gone, and is taken captive by Karim. Having bumped into the wounded Neil, Darius fears the worst and sends the women back, whilst he goes to help the Earthman. And they leave in a colonial shuttle from Battlestar Galactica. The show hadn't been renewed for another series, so they figured they could start using the models now. Mayor brings Vion up to date with what seems like a pathetic, "I'm sure they'll be all right."
God.
Yeah,
They
two men.
can't act. They can't.
2 men versus all of Trebor's forces. Well, as it happens, of course, they're fine, and Darius rescues Buck easily, and they flee in the red ship from Happy Birthday Buck. There's a definite inference that Vion is offering Buck a thank you boink, which is gross.
Oh, it's horrible.
Darius has Kalen arrested, and the Evilton rather spoils his defence case by blurting, "You'll never stop the Trebor!" Ridiculous.
But did I miss something? Why did he know it was him?
Yeah, I didn't pick up on a clue there, really. Oh, well, we saw the clues, but there wasn't a moment where he did, yeah.
Yeah.
Hugh and Wilma call and bring Buck up to date on Trebor's electrical talents. Hugh offers to send a squadron to help, but Buck covers that easy way out by saying there isn't enough time, which I suppose sort of works.
Well, possibly, because it's the 13th quadrant. It's supposed to be quite far away, isn't it?
Trebor leaves in the Raven, which has been used as a freighter in 3 previous episodes.
I quite like that that's the name of his ship, though.
Yeah. Buck rather gives away his plan to the audience by wiring Tweaky up with a transformer. Not that sort of transformer.
No. Now, what would Tweaky turn into?
A dildo.
A butt plug?
A dildo. Or a butt plug, one of the two. Optimus blockage or something, I don't know.
What? Optimus blockage? What the fuck are you on?
Megadong. There's another painfully ucky scene.
Megadong, yeah. Megadong I could get behind.
With Vion giving Buck a medallion. She somehow knows his tastes very well. And we finally get the showdown promised by the title, I guess. Trebor puts his rifle aside and challenges Buck to do the same. But Captain Rogers sensibly shoots another armed baddie and starts a firefight. Trebor calls a halt to things and insists he be the one to kill the Roshan. "I'm unarmed," he claims.
Which is
Buck,
just bollocks.
Buck
he's
knows
not.
about his electric powers, which the Eviltron turns on the captain to blast away his rifle. But when he tries to zap Buck himself, Rogers has his hand on Tweaky, who then redirects the electricity back at Trebor, who does a tumble and smokes, quite nicely at least.
Yeah.
Then we get a fist fight, which of course Buck wins, because Buck... It's amazing Trebor's wig doesn't fall off, really. And Tweaky plays referee, which is quite fun. Buck has to address the freed people of Qatar and tells them he's not the Roshan, but they are. "I'm Roshan and so's my wife." One horrible minute you feel Buck is going to cash in on his offer of a boink with Vion, but he just thanks her for the medallion and gives her a kip. And this week's comedy ending is Tweaky turning up dressed as a cowboy.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Because Buck has been telling him about Earth history off camera. I mean, come on, this is just random. Absolutely random. But it doesn't mean we can play out on...
This is only big enough for the both of us. Tell me who's gonna lead.
Yes, if we can get a Sparks tune in, we will.
Yeah. Oh.
I thought this felt very Flash Gordon, particularly the costume design, but also some of the plot points as well, you know, with Ernie Wise being, you know, keeping his harem and, and having duels with people, but cheating. And he is nicely evil as well, so I'll give him points for that. Although, yeah, as soon as you pointed out like Ernie Wise, that did reduce his evil level somewhat.
Sorry, but that's just where my brain went. I'm there going, he's reminding me of someone. It's the wig that's doing it, and then I was just like, and whoever it is, the hair's grey instead and he's cheeky, and you went, Ernie Wise. And I went, yes! Yes, it's Mirror Universe Ernie Wise.
We get a space battle, which is always good, but there is an awful lot of padding.
And I was talking to Quinn about this episode, and Quinn just went, well, this is like every other episode of Buck Rogers.
Pretty much.
I went, what do you mean? And Quinn went, well, there's a bad guy who's a bit rubbish, really, and Buck has to go to the rescue by having a very badly choreographed fight, and there's a rather wet woman that he's going to kiss at some point.
Yes, how do we know?
And you're like, yeah, actually, they're all like that, aren't they?
Yeah, how do we know we could have introduced Buck Bingo long ago, couldn't
Yes,
we?
we could. Yes, it was just like, yeah, you know what? You're not wrong.
Another bad thing, the treatment of women characters is awful in this. They're just either members of a harem, fawning over Buck, or in Wilma's case, just space Google, basically.
The only one that really has any agency is Toilet Seahead.
Yes, because she gets to be slightly evil, but not really
Slightly,
very evil.
yeah.
And she's in the shadow of Ernie Wise anyway, so...
Yeah.
Morecambe and Wise, did they travel to other countries? I'm not sure they particularly did they? So,
I don't know.
So again, I'm afraid non-UK people, you might have to Google Ernie Wise, who was like the straight man to a very really funny comedian. But yeah,
He was a good straight man. But the
he
thing
was the straight man, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I mean, he was
absolutely brilliant. And they did like song and dance routines and stuff, and I kept expecting a song and dance routine to happen.
Yeah, does that really famous one with the
breakfast?
No, I was thinking of the news reporter.
Angela Rippon.
Was it Angela Rippon? Yeah.
Oh, they did also do one with Thingy. Oh God, Moira Stewart.
Yeah, I think it was Angela Rippon I was thinking of because that the female Greta or whatever her name was just reminded me a bit of Angela Rippon. So yeah, we needed an Eric Morecambe to be gurning at the camera from time to time and getting his pipe out. Which United Statesian could we cast as Eric Morecambe if you could imagine casting Eric Morecambe? I mean.
Which United?
Because we've now got Angela Rippon and we've got Ernie Wise, so now we need Eric Morecambe, don't we?
Yes, I suppose.
But the thing is, Eric Morecambe, is balding. You don't get very many United States in balding actors, do you? They all wear wigs, don't they?
Yeah.
So that's a problem for starters. Oh. I mean, he'd be a bit old at this point, obviously, but your man from what was that army show called? He ran the army stores. That's going to bug me now.
You mean Sergeant Bilko?
Sergeant Bilko, the guy who played Sergeant Bilko.
Yes.
If you're going to cast Eric Morecambe, it's going to be Sergeant Bilko guy whose name...
We don't
Slink
know.
Rogers? Oh, bugger. To Google.
And this is all this strange rabbit hole we're going down. Because this has so much to do with Buck Rogers. Any more than, what is it, Planet of the Bee Women or something?
Oh, yeah. Phil Silvers, there you are. We'll have Phil Silvers as Eric Morecambe. Because, he was balding, there you are. Very unusual for the United Statesian, I think. Anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah, let's move on from Sergeant Bilko and find out what people thought of Buck Rogers, shall we?
Yeah, okay.
And we've heard from the Jeffster.
And Jeff writes, this episode was suitably silly fun. William Smith, who is in countless movies and television shows, makes a great over-the-top villain. Keith Andes as Darius was frustratingly familiar, but I couldn't place him until I looked him up and found he was in the original Star Trek episode The Apple.
Yeah.
I am very much looking forward to when you cover that one.
Oh, boy.
We're not.
Yeah.
Wilma got slightly more to do this time, but unfortunately most of it was acting as a human Google search.
Yeah.
Once again, no one in the 25th century knows how to just come out and ask for help. They always have to try and trick or kidnap Buck.
Yeah, it is. That's a running theme as well, isn't it? Yeah.
I'm still utterly befuddled by the nonsense about electricity in this episode. Maybe it's just a lack of imagination on my part, but what have they been using instead in these 400 years? I just do not understand. Yeah, you and us both.
Space beans.
Well, thanks again for the great podcast. Keep on keeping on.
Great.
Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, that electricity shit just makes no fucking sense at all. Now, is Doreen still appreciating the fact that we gave her access to these episodes of Buck Rogers?
We have just had our fairly regular Buck Rogers episode on a Saturday afternoon, and we watched the Duel to the Death episode, which I would like to rename
Tree-born mints are a minty bit stronger.
The Dictator Who's Useless, because his electrical circuits aren't much good. He isn't threatening, and the scriptwriters did a rubbish job. I'm not holding my cards close to my chest at all. I did not like this one at all. Cheese Factor is certainly back with a vengeance, and this was just terrible. So much so that I blew a raspberry, and thumbs down, that's my rating for the episode. However, there was a few good bits.
But I would walk 500 miles and I would walk 500 more to be the man who walked 1,000 miles to fall down at your door.
That was one of the good bits. Not really down to the writing of the Buck Rogers crew, but because, well, we're Scottish and the red-haired twins that are the proclaimers will always have a space in our hearts. And when Trebor told Buck Rogers that he'd lived for 500 years, that's precisely what Anthony thought Buck Rogers should reply to him, that he would live 500 more. Whereas the Trebor was not a minty bit stronger, but on his way out. And of course, we expected Buck Rogers to win because that's what happens. And also, when the delegation or the people that they saved from that planet that I've forgotten the name of, when they said, "Will you come back for us to show our appreciation to our planet?" Anthony said that what they should do to entice Buck Rogers was to say, "There's women there." Okay, I've done my best with the lemons that I was given. Don't know if I've managed lemonade, but let's see how this experiment went. Thank you. Bye-bye.
No.
I done the best with the lemons you were given. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah. And I like that because I have lived 500 years and I would live 500 more.
I'm not so sure about the accent, but yeah.
Sorry. It's not great, is it, really?
No, it is. It's at best a very average episode of Buck Rogers and possibly not as good as that. So.
No. Yeah. Lemons is about right, really. Yeah.
Let's see what Sampo and Yona thought. They've called it Buck Snore to the Deaf, which rather suggests they didn't think much of
Yeah,
it.
they probably also thought it was lemons and all.
Hello.
Hello.
We just watched Buck's Duel to the Death.
Why didn't we just watch the last episode again?
I don't know, we should have really. God, that was so...
Okay, what happens in this one?
It was so by the numbers, it was painful. I mean, bad guy on planet Buck's the only one who can help. He goes there.
He was legend then?
Wilma and Hugh stay home. Their first plan fails. There's a love interest for about 1 minute on screen. And then
Wilma saying, "I wish we could have been there."
Exactly, and we both said at the same time, exactly. Yeah. And what was that? What was that scientist guy with the hairdryer?
But he was a historian.
Well, whatever. Okay, so the electricity guy. I mean, how did
the first thing is first?
Yeah.
So the electricity.
Yes.
What the fuck?
Yeah, we haven't used electricity for 400 years. I mean,
like, what?
Yes, I don't know. Well, they didn't elaborate, but I suspect that electricity as a physical phenomenon is something that they... But they don't know what an egg is. I mean... Yeah.
Is there any animals in Buck Rogers?
There was a lizard in the desert in one episode.
Yeah, that's true.
That's it.
They have plants.
They had horses.
Yes, they have horses.
The Amazon women have horses.
And Tweaky said something about horses, which I didn't get.
The ending with Tweaky, I mean, that was so cringe, like the kids say, that it physically hurt me to watch that. What was that? Billy the Kid, But okay, I was asking a minute ago, I mean, how did Buck Rogers defeat the Khan wannabe?
Yeah, he should have just thrown like a bucket of water over the electricity.
Yeah, but I mean, what happened? I mean, I don't know. Was he using Tweaky as a lightning rod or something, and then short-circuited him? But
yeah, that the planet where Trebor is the only deadly weapon just shows us the idea of Cold War, where if you don't have the biggest weapon, you will be like defeated.
Boy, you're already thinking about this, aren't you?
Yes.
They took a page out of Star Trek. I mean, they still gather your finest men, and then like the prime minister and deputy minister are part of the strike force.
It shows if you are good, you do the work yourself. If you have like bad eggs in your baskets, then you just send your cat to it.
Minions.
Minions.
They weren't yellow, they were black. And completely
They should not
useless.
be yellow.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, they were completely useless, except for the one scene when Buck wasn't there, when they just shot everyone like in blink of an eye. Well, actually, they didn't kill. In this episode they shot a lot of people, but they were all stunned. They referenced it a few times. I mean, they're
Yeah, but it's just because they were
daytime TV. They can't kill anyone.
or fuck anyone.
Yeah, I mean, what?
That's why the girl was crying on the bed. Mr.
take
Bucket
my-
just sleeping on the sofa, and she's there in the quarters and not knowing what to do and crying.
But yeah, talk about a nosedive in quality. I'd almost like to say the worst episode. If we don't count the clip show, this, I mean, it was just so boring.
Yeah. How about the episode with the vampire?
I mean, that was a lot better. I mean, I liked the vampire. Yeah, this wasn't good. I mean, and okay.
I liked the scene where they were rescuing the women, the wives.
Oh yes.
And it was similar to like clowns coming from a beetle. They just kept on coming from the.
Yeah, and they very stealthily took out a few guards. One who sort of just disappeared off screen.
Yeah, where did he go?
Well, we saw him later in a completely different place, lying on the ground. But yes. Okay, that part was slightly amusing, but no, I mean, this was just terrible. Really, it was.
Yeah.
Well, but I assume I'll enjoy your podcast more than this episode, so waiting for that.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good thing that this one exists.
Yes, bye.
Bye.
Bye. You might have to do quite a bit of Googling to work out who Mirror Universe Ernie Wise was.
Yes, Ernie Wise as Carnoonian Singh. That which makes about as much sense as Benedict Cumberbatch anyway. So
Oh God.
And you get clowns from a car. Yeah, that's
yeah,
what that was.
yeah.
Them going down the ladder.
Yeah, it was. Yes.
And yes, we'll add bad science to the book bingo because that's always a thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And actually,
lectures towards that.
And actually, you mentioning the fact that it was the wives coming down just made me think that at the time when I was watching it, it was like, yeah, because it was daytime TV, like you said, no fucking or anything. It's not, oh no, he's going to rape her, which is what he was actually going to do. No, he's going to marry her and she's going to be a wife. Because you can't actually say what's really happening at all.
And nobody gets killed, all the way through, everybody's stunned.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. Right, what did Drew and Tracy make of this? I don't think Drew's going to say it's a classic of anything.
So we just watched Buck's Duel to the Death.
And what did we think of that one then?
It wasn't as good, and it also didn't have the laughs like the last week's one did, or 2 weeks ago, Space Rockers.
Well, there is the corny laugh at the end of the episode, which is just getting a bit
that was
now.
flat, wasn't it?
Anywho,
the stuff about the cowboy.
Let's not go to the end of the episode.
Okay.
Let's go through some points. So it was good to see Wilma in the cockpit.
Yes.
For the first time in about 10 episodes.
It was, but they said, like, we both commented, like, they said, oh, what's going on? And no one gives them any answer. And then they just start shooting up the pursuing ships.
Right, well, let's talk about that. So there is this one ship that they see at 2 o'clock saying, oh, this is in a dogfight. And they just go in and kind of like defend that one ship. And he could have been like a drug lord.
He could have been
something.
Reincarnated Hitler, couldn't he?
Exactly.
They just start shooting up the pursuing ships.
They blasted like the pursuers at the sky. And then actually he does turn out to be a bit of a shit because he's luring Buck to that planet.
Yep.
To kind of like, get their women back. Well... And to be fair, I know I'm jumping through, but all they needed to do was walk through the fucking hole in the wall.
Yes.
Crikey, Riley.
What was that? You're talking about, he says, what is it, emergency access to the women's quarters, which is the hole that's like about 4 foot up, so that when all the women come out, they've got to climb down in their skimpy clothes
and
down
heels,
the ladder.
Yeah. So let's talk about the duel.
At the end?
The first duel that we see. So the guy's got a fuck off machete and a shield.
Yes.
And Trebor comes in, and you think he's doing all this, like he's doing all this hand combat stuff.
Yep.
And he lets like the guy get a couple of swings in.
Well, he takes the stuff off of him, doesn't he?
Yeah,
He manages to get
he
it off.
He lets the guy have a couple of swings. Then he like knocks the shield out of his hand. Then he knocks like the bleeding machete, and then he just like uses the force power on him.
I know,
And it's
blasts
why didn't
him.
you just do that initially?
At the
But
beginning, yeah.
To me, that was a cheat-eyed McCheat-face
Yes.
fight because that was just rubbish.
Yep. The tray boy looks a bit like Michael Fabricant, doesn't he?
We did say, fucking hell, that's a wig, innit?
Yeah,
That's
it is,
nasty.
yeah.
What is that about? I mean, to be fair, when Buck went in to duel with him, I would have just pulled off his wig.
Yes, he should have just pulled it over his eyes, shouldn't he?
Yeah.
The stunt acting for the things. I know we always comment on it, you know, like obviously we're watching on like 55-inch high definition 2022
When
TV.
you can clearly see their face.
But the main thing is, especially like the fight at the beginning when like the 4 guards or whatever they are went to get Buck. Like 1 minute, like Buck's just like flying all over the place,
Yeah.
like really quick. And then Gil Gerard turns around really slowly. It's like every time Gil Gerard is playing Buck, he like moves slow.
Yeah.
But when like in that fight and the fight at the end, when it's the stuntman, they move really quick.
He's flying around
It's
all over the
obvious
place.
it's not Gil Gerard.
It is, but I also said to you that how tight Gil Gerard's
I know, his trousers
are. If he did one flying kick, those trousers
would
would be
be-
split to
I
shit.
know.
Let me tell you.
My goodness, that was some tight trousers he had on, didn't
And
he?
I've got to say, he does love his brown, doesn't he?
Yeah.
There's got to be a brown outfit in there every week now.
100%.
But I have to say that I did like the Saturday Night Fever outfit.
I
that
know,
was going on
he's
tonight,
had
the
some
white
disco
suit
going on.
and the red collar. Yeah. So also, if you were like Buck and you
Yeah.
knew you were going to have to fight Trebor,
Trebor, yeah.
I can't get mints out of my head now.
Yep.
So, and you know he's going to like shock you with
Do
like his power
electricity,
shots.
yeah.
They did in the end, but I said to you, I would just turn up in a rubber suit.
Yeah, I
And,
know,
like,
some
I'd,
kind
put,
of Faraday
earthing
cage
on
suit.
me.
Yeah, well, I
so
guess
he
he
couldn't
did.
get me.
He did use like his
Through
intelligence.
Tweaky. And why
innit?
didn't Tweaky go a bit like Steamy? Surely if he was
Yeah.
like conducting electricity, there'd be a little bit
Maybe he was using his cleverness,
of steam or
wasn't
bright.
he?
Well, yes.
Yeah,
20th century engineering,
Yep.
electronics there going on. Anyway,
I just think this was like it's not great and didn't have the laughs.
this is a bit
It is
boring.
alright, yeah.
I did ask you in the middle of it if you bought a steamer.
Yes, I know. In the middle, you just goes, "Oh, have you looked up a steam on Amazon?" I was like, "We're not watching Buck Rogers."
No.
I think that says it all
That
about this
said it all.
episode.
That was just, yeah, that's how bored I was. Anywho, leave it there.
Okie dokie.
See you later, guys. Take it easy.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah. I mean, that really is a bad wig. I hadn't thought of Michael Fabricant, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's that level, isn't it?
Well,
Really.
I was going to say, I don't think anything's quite as bad as Michael Fabricant's.
No.
Because that's beyond comedy, that wig of his. It's
Yeah.
just, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, you just pull the wig over his eyes, you've won.
Yeah.
Really.
But it's nice to see Wilma, flying a ship for a change.
Yes.
But it was fairly brief, and
It
then
was
she got
brief.
naffle else to do
Yeah.
except visit the Museum of Weirdness.
But you're right, it could have been reincarnated Hitler. They don't know. I mean, that's not what I thought at the time. I thought, how do they know it's a goodie? And it's the principle, isn't it? Is they're like buddies.
He's called Neil. Nobody's going to get called
But they
Neil.
don't know he's called Neil at this point.
No, not at this point, no. But, as soon as they find out, it's like, oh, well. He can't be particularly harmful, can he, if he's called Neil?
So now I'm trying to think if there's anybody. Neil Hamilton, he was a crooked politician. Not that
He
that
was,
narrows it
but
down.
he was so inept. He got caught out really early on, didn't he?
Yeah. Okay. So
his
Neil's,
wife was a bit more worrying, wasn't it? Yeah.
So Neils are either harmless or inept then?
Yes, I think so. Yes.
Okay, do we know anybody called Neil who's neither harmless nor inept? Now we've got to think.
Neil
All
Gaiman?
Neils.
He's
Oh, okay.
not inept.
He's harmless,
He
though.
is harmless, though. He's quite sweet.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't think of a single Neil that isn't either harmless
Yep.
or inept.
There you are. Well, feel free to send us in your Neils. It's the new Neil game that we've invented. Not Neil Gaiman, but Neil Game. No, all I can think of is Pyramids of Mars and Neil before Sutek. Anyway. I think it must be time for Purry, mustn't it?
Yes.
Let's see what he made of this.
Hello, Args. Purry here to talk about Buck's battle to the death. Now, I have a few issues with this one. It wasn't a bad episode, and again, a bit more into the cheesy fun, but it had its issues. Aside from the fact that I kept hearing the baddie's name as the Trebor, like the mints rather than Trebor, I think they were going for, but used Trebor in my head. And indeed, this is another of these kind of fairly toned, muscly baddies in vests with a slightly iffy grey wig. I'm sure we've seen his like before. But again, the plot is basically he's dominating a planet and he has a big harem who do his nails for him and that sort of thing. And the planet recruits Buck because of like some sort of it was either Roshin or something, basically some sort of legend of a 500-year-old man who would come and rescue them. How come no one spotted Councillor Dodgy McDodgy Face for starters? That guy was consistently, any mystery that he was like a man on the inside was completely ruined by the episode. It was the least mysterious thing in the world. And the Trebor apparently used the mysterious power of electricity, which no one knows about anymore for some reason. I mean, again, I could see they don't know about, say, filament lights or even conductivity, but they use a lot of machines that appear to run on some form of electricity. Or is there something else that goes through them? Do they now run on wishes, dreams, unicorn farts? Who knows? That really bugged me, this whole thing of we don't know about electricity, because it's never been stated before. It's just all of a sudden, yes, they don't know about it, and that's how Buck can get the better of him, because he can earth himself through Tweaky, apparently, or something akin to that. This Trebor is an okay baddie, nothing special, not particular. He's no Jack Palance, let's put it that way. And once again, Wilma's horrifically underused. She basically goes to the weird guy in the room full of junk and gets some background info, but other than that, it's Buck doing his commando raid and rescuing all the ladies from the harem. And I think that was just an excuse to have a bunch of women in skimpy outfits. And then having his face off with the Trebor. I mean, they did do, in fairness, the big fight in the hangar bay, for all that it was a redress of the one from Earth. That was pretty good. But I can't help but feel that, it lacks a little something. Couldn't quite say what. I think it just seemed workmanlike. Another issue I had, the love interest at the end. Now, one of the things I've kind of liked about Buck is there's always been a hint that he's actually a little bit chaste. He's not actually that much of a womanizer, but in this one the woman falls in love with him after 3 lines of dialogue. Basically 3 lines of dialogue, and she's giving him the engagement medallion to go with his disco battle suit. That battle suit, that was weird. And Iona did point out very tight trousers. But you could see Tweaky. Don't know, maybe not. But I was sure the medallion thing was going to reflect energy beams or something, and so it just kind of did nothing. And then he leaves her at the end. And, I think I preferred it when we had the weird rock band. This just seemed a bit too much the planet seemed perfectly capable of defending itself. It was just someone had to come up with break in first. So, yeah. Bit of an odd thing. So all that remains me to say is do keep up the good work. I always look forward to the podcast, and I'll be back to feedback in the next episode. But until then, bye for now.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah, I think it must be unicorn farts powering everything.
Yeah, and what does Tweaky run on?
Yeah, because it must be electricity for Buck's plan to work, mustn't it?
I mean, all right, let's be charitable. Perhaps it is electricity, but they've since started calling it something else and forgotten that it was originally called electricity. Shall we go with that?
Okay.
Because that at least makes some vague sense. But
yeah,
Buck's bad science strikes again.
Yes, and Mirror Universe Ernie Wise is no Jack Palance.
Definitely not. But then again, nobody is, to be fair. And Callan was an obvious bad guy, wasn't he? Right from the beginning. So yeah. Hey ho! It certainly wasn't a classic bit of book. This one, I wouldn't recommend this to anybody. I don't think.
No, I think it was Lemons. I think Doreen had it right.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, well, next time we finish off season 1 with both parts of Flight of the War Witch. Ho-ho.
That just sounds like somebody mispronouncing Warwick.
Flight of the Warwick.
Yeah, instead of Warwick instead of Warwick. Do you know what I mean? It
Yes.
sounds like it should be pronounced Warwick.
Yes, possibly. It probably would be in this country just to spite the rest of the world. We're recording on Thursday, the 10th of February. I even checked the date. Hey.
Oh, wow.
I know, faints. But having finished off the first season, and yes, we will be covering both parts together because both parts are together on the DVD, so we'd have to guess where. So it'll be a bit of a longer one, possibly, but we shall see. But then this feed will be taking something of a break because we're going over to covering Picard every week on our other Borgcast feed. So that'll be keeping us out of mischief for a couple of months. We will try and put a couple of specials up so this feed doesn't go quiet for two whole months. But it'll literally be sort of one a month, I should think, at most. We do have something quite juicy planned, but don't want to spoil anything, okay? No. Watch this feed. And watch the Facebook and the Twitter and stuff if you want to be alerted to when it's going to emerge.
Yes. So you get the occasional Prezi while Picard is on, and then we'll be back with Oh Dear Season 2.
Yeah. Wow, that's going to be bad. Following up Picard, all its modern effects and stuff.
That's going to be like when we went from Galactica, but then reverse.
Yes.
Galactica 1980 to the
modern Galactica.
But we're going to be from quality to gobshite.
And then did we have a plan of what we were going to do after Buck Rogers? I thought we'd come up with an idea, but I can't remember what it was now. So
it's not fucking BJ and the Bear, I'm telling you that now.
Oh, it's not available on DVD, so no.
Oh, what a shame. I am devastated.
Streaming. Come on, Netflix. You're struggling now. This is your lifeline. Start showing BJ and the Bear. No. I'm really annoyed because I was hoping to get a third jingle to put on, but no, we can't get beyond 3. Never know. Flight of the War Witch might surprise us.
Yes, or Flight of the Warwick, as I'm calling it now.
The Warwick, yes. Okay. Sorry. Take care, everybody. Cheery bye.
Bye.
Zoo time, is she a new time? The mammals are your favorite time. You're running water tonight. Heartbeat, increasing heartbeat. You hear the thunder of stampeding rhinos, elephants and tacky tigers. This town ain't big enough for the both of us. Tell me who's gonna lead.
The voiceover for Borg Rogers was provided by Michael David Sims from Earth2.net.
The Buck Rogers theme was played by Drew Barker. All other music is used for illustrative purposes only, and no copyright infringement is intended.
The artwork for this podcast was created by Andy Palastides.
To contact us, send emails or MP3s to borgcast@gmail.com.
Contact us via Twitter at rev_org or Borgcastammo. #Borgcast.
Visit our website at galactica.libsyn.com
or view images relating to our cast on our Tumblr site, borgcast.tumblr.com.
You can join our Facebook page. There's also a Spotify playlist with all our play-out tunes on it.
Shut it down!
This galaxy ain't big enough for the two of us, bub.